Hello again. Welcome to the presentation of week 2. Our topic is PMC languages and their history. I mentioned about them basically, and I want to tell you the truth. I just learned these languages new from my friends' presentations. Okay, let's start with basically what they are. Okay, I can tell you the Pidgin language. It roots coming from the past, the traits, human traits, and wars or marriages, immigrations. And I want to know that the Pidgin language um, evaluates with the time pass and it turns into the Creole language. I will mention about this more detailed. Okay, in the Pidgin language, uh, humans just take the importance points, importance vocabulary, and uh, basically grammar, and just speak to communicate easily. For example, in the wars, there are many peoples from very variety nationalities, and they should learn to communicate with each other, right? Okay, it means the lingua franca. It's necessity. Okay, they just take the language for their mm, aims to communicate with each other, and it's like Pidgin. It's temporary, but with the time passed, they associated with their cultures this language, and they start to teach their children this language, and they start to live with this language. So they adjust it, and it turns into the Creole language. This is the whole uh, story. Okay, as I just said, this Pidgin language emerged with the mainly with the human traits and wars. With in the human traits, there are masters and slaves. You know, in America, it's start with the discovery of America. Okay, um, the slaves should understand the masters in some ways, so they just adopt and approximate the language, and Pidgin emerged. As the time passed, it turns into Creole because they start to adopt this language and they start to live with this language with their everyday lives, and they communicate it, communicate with it so often. Okay, there are differences between P and C languages. First of all, as I just said, P language has no native speakers because they just took this language for temporary aims, right? But as the time passed, it turns into native speakers exist because they start to teach their children these languages and they start to live this language with this language. And the Pidgin language is mixing of language. You know, they just mm, use their own language, but they need to understand the others' language, right? They need to understand the English because the masters, because of the masters. Okay, and the C language is mixed language associated with culture because they start to adopt and start to accommodate. So it becomes their language. And in the P language, reduced grammar and vocabulary exist. You know, they just listeners, and they just a little bit can a little bit understand the others' language, and it's not educate to understand all grammar and vocabulary in the correct way. So they just learn it a little bit. So it's the reasons of the Pidgin, reasons of the occurring P language. Okay, and the C language have parents who use Pidgin. I just say that you they started to teach their Pidgin language to their children. So what it means? It means that the language of Pidgin start to pass down from generation to generation, right? So it start to becomes be their language, and they have the language, and it's become Creole language. Okay, there are some examples of PNC languages. Of course, there are much more them, but I just put this, for example, of P language examples. Cinquaquaca, Yirmotu, Fonacola, Kalo, Nefamese, and Setla, and etc. For C language, Haitian, Maritime, and Seychelles. Okay, and so on. There are so many of them. Okay, thanks for listening. See you next week.